Hello everybody and welcome on into another LEGO Marvel set review on my channel. Today we are checking out set 76269, the Avengers Tower. Finally guys, after waiting for so long, I finally got it. Of course, this thing is just crazy. It comes with 5,201 pieces, retails for 750 bucks Canadian, which gives it roughly a 14 cents per piece to price ratio, which is actually really good for a Marvel set, especially one of this size. Though that is probably one of the big things that they took into consideration, making it nice and relatively good with the piece to price ratio, however making it super expensive. This box is so heavy and is massive, so I have to kind of have it backed up here for a little bit. Of course, this is the back side of the box right here with the trim at the bottom, and I look at the back side of it with everything there as well. So all the play features there. Of course, you can see all the removable pieces, some of these scenes that you can recreate. Of course, the size, it is about 3 feet tall, which is insane to me, honestly. It is just such a big set. Of course, at the top of the box as well, you have every figure in the set, which is crazy to me, and we'll be sure to go through every single part of this set. Lifting up the flap here with the minifigures here at the top, you get revealed to you this amazing art right here, which just looks incredible with all the heroes right here displayed on the front, which just is just such like unneeded but such a nice addition to the set. I think it looks really nice. And while opening up the box here, you can see there is a massive amount of bags. I haven't even found half of them. I think like this is just like I have to count all these. This is only just half the bags here. However, we do get another box inside of the massive box, so let's actually cut that open here.
And I guess the instructions will be in here,
as well as some more bags. And that's what it looks like. After organizing them all, bags 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, and 31 to 39. Of course, we also get the base plate in this, and 2 bags with some stands and some more plates here, which is very nice, as well as the, oh, this is heavy, okay. This is the instruction booklets, I'm going to assume here. Sorry guys for the weird. Okay, well, not what I was expecting. We get this kind of like plastic sheet right here, which is really cool. And then we of course get sticker sheet number 1 and sticker sheet number 2. And then of course book 1, 2, and 3. Guys, I think we'll split this video up into 3 sections. I do want to mention too, throughout the build you have a bunch of Easter eggs featured throughout the instructions. They give you a bit of information at the beginning, of course, about LEGO's future here, as well as a little information about the set itself here, the Avengers Tower, as well as a few little things to anticipate while building it. Of course, moving on, you get the couple of these scenes that were on the back of the box, and you get to meet the guys that designed this set, which I think is a really nice touch. Of course, after that, a couple more little tad bits about breaking down like the different levels of the set, of course, and of course your entry and kind of clarification. Okay, it's about to start. Of course, flipping through it at the end of bag 1 and 2, which is where you build the Leviathan, you do get a little nod to the movies. Of course, there are these little spots right here at the bottom of the page once something is done being built, or once you build something, that adds in a little reference to the movies. Of course, this one says, during the climactic battle with the Chitauri in the Avengers, Thor destroys one of the monstrous Leviathans in one blow. And another one that gets brought up when building is the fact that they add in some red bricks for the foundation of the set, of course, as a nod to Tony Stark saying to throw a little hot red in there. I think this is actually really cool and a fun way to just incorporate some really fun stuff into kind of a boring part like building the foundation. So with that being said, this is the first booklet, everything that you get, of course, from bag 1 to bag 11. Starting off with the first 2 bags here, we get to build the menacing Leviathan side build right here, as well as two figures, that of course being Thor and a Chitauri soldier. This Thor is actually exclusive to the set, this being of course the version that has come in a bunch of sets recently. However, the hair is different here, looking a bit curlier than the hair that he normally uses, that of course being his shaggy hair. Of course, the torso print is the same there with the red cape. However, this is the one with one hole instead of two, which is a bit weird how they are using it. However, this one does flop a bit more than the other ones used to. Of course, you have his double-sided head there, of course, with the lightning there, as well as the back of the torso, which isn't anything special. This is actually the first time I've gotten this version of Thor, so it's nice that I actually get to have it in a set like this. Of course, as an accessory, you also get this attachment piece, which comes with a bunch of Thor minifigures. Of course, this also comes with the most recent Thor vs. Surtur set right here. We also get a little disc piece that you can stand him on, which I don't really understand. Maybe it's supposed to show that he's kind of hovering. I'm not really sure, though. It is nice for displayability. Of course, you can flip the head around there, which is very easy, and clip it into his hand like so to make it look like he is throwing Mjolnir. A very, very, very nice kind of addition to the figure, which I think just makes it look so much better. As well as we also do get this Chitauri soldier, which isn't anything different from the ones we've gotten in the past couple years. Of course, you have his ray gun, as well as the same face and torso printing there, of course, looking very nice. We actually get 4 of these guys in the set. However, I've only built 1 so far, and it is a very nice inclusion to the set. But of course, the side build itself is this massive Leviathan looking incredible. Probably one of the most fun times I've had building a Lego set. The movability that this thing has is crazy. You of course have the 2 fins at the front here, as well as the 2 at the back, with the massive spiny looking build here. Of course, you can also take it off the stand, which is very nice to have, especially for a set like this that's going on display here. And yeah, everything on this thing really moves here. Of course, you have the neck that moves, the jaw that moves, which looks crazy. Of course, the thing is also embedded in this like almost like cocoon-like kind of look here, with the claws and all that stuff around it, looking very, very nice. Of course, they all wrap up kind of like a cage or maybe like a spine here. It looks really cool, and every section of it moves. Actually, if you can see in there, there are a bunch of ball joints there around the armor here, which just gives it like that scaly cool design too around here, with the spikes too, and just the tail at the end. I believe this is a bit of a different build from the one that was released this summer, which is nice. However, it would have been nice to get a bigger version of it, I think. But if you do want a bigger version of it and you don't want to spend the $700 for this set, you can always spend the $50 for the Avengers versus the Leviathan. Up next in the building process is the main floor. However, it is not done, of course, as later on the build you do add, of course, the trimming along the edges, the wall, and of course a little bit of Easter eggs around the build. However, the first floor is actually still packed full of Easter eggs. Before getting into that, though, here are the figures featured throughout the first section. With the first figure, of course, being the Iron Man Mark 6, looking very nice and also keeping that classic design. However, the one thing I do want to mention is I don't think these new helmet designs fit with the older versions of the suits. The newer versions of the suit, yes. However, this one just makes it look more like the Nano suit, which I'm not a huge fan of. Underneath, of course, is the Tony Stark head that's been being used for years and years. Of course, this set comes with 3 of them, which is going to be crazy. However, flipping it around, you do have his grinning expression there. I do have this one on because his mask is over top of it. And what's nice is we get a nostalgic callback, of course, to how Iron Man was displayed back when he first was released, of course, with the blue transparent studs right there, and the 1x1 cylinder brick ones for the feet. I think that actually looks really, really cool, of course, looking all the way around there. The hot rod red and the gold just making a super nice figure. Up next, we also do get the SHIELD agents here, looking very nice and simple there with that new torso print. Each of them are equipped with a gun here with, of course, their scope and the helmet, which is a nice inclusion. This is the male version right here, looking very nice, as well as the female version here actually does have a bit of variation, coming with some handcuffs, of course, and a different face there in the new skin tone released alongside the Sanctum, which is actually very fitting, as that was, I believe, the first modular set that this skin tone was released in. Of course, the same torso print right there, the same gun, and just some handcuffs to differentiate. Coincidentally, we do get a third one. However, this, of course, is the Tony Stark disguise one, of course, here. Looking like Tony Stark, of course, rightfully so. Of course, he also does come with his briefcase. Of course, you will see later on in the build that this comes into play massively. Of course, the same face print on our Iron Man figure, same torso print as the other SHIELD agents here. However, what is nice is we do get the spiky hairpiece that you can change out with it, like so, which I think does actually look a lot better. However, just for the disguise and simplicity of it, I do like to keep the helmet on. To replicate that scene, we also do get the Ant-Man micro figure, which looks very nice. Nothing new from the ones that we have gotten recently. It's been the same for a while. However, I just do think it does look nice. And finally, for the last minifigure part of this first floor, we get Alexander Pierce, looking incredible and crazy that we actually got him in this set. I would have never expected him to come in a set like this. But yeah, here you have it. He does not come with a different face expression. However, he does come with this grinning face, which I believe is exclusive to this figure. Of course, you do get a nice torso print with that striped suit, and the dark tan hairpiece there looks really good. I actually love the inclusion of him, especially with all the SHIELD agents around him. I think looks really good here, especially recreating the scenes from Avengers Endgame. And of course, here is the first floor, packed full of details. And yeah, putting this into one video is going to be a challenge. Of course, starting here on the outside, it's pretty nice. You have two benches here, as well as a little spot, which is where the memorial plaque is going to go. You have a bunch of windows, which have been a pain to put together. However, it just looks so clean, actually. Like, spinning it all around here, especially with the breakup of this translucent blue one, looks very nice, especially on the curve right there, which actually works with these angle pieces right there, which actually looks just super clean. Of course, you can see all around the build. You also have the attachment pieces for the Technic pins, swooshing it all the way around to the back here, more windows, and you can see our first little detail here, of course, which is the new exhibit, the Captain America in the Smithsonian Museum, I believe that is. Of course, there's also an Avengers symbol right there, and right in front of, or right behind it, I guess, is the exit only sign, which is very nice. Of course, this slant right here is where the panel is going to go to close this place up. And now we can take a look at the inside. Look on in here, it actually looks really good. Starting closest to us, we have two little lounge chairs, which I think look really great there. Very simple build, but just adds so much. As well as along the wall, we have a elevator right there, which actually does go into the second floor. There's nothing behind it, of course, as there would be no way to make a moving elevator in this set. However, we also do have a little vending machine here, which you can actually simply pop out here, which does have 4 cans of soda in there, which is actually very cool. Pop off the top pretty easily, fit them in there. A very nice and pretty advanced build. Of course, you also have another little Easter egg there, which is the PIM logo right there, sponsoring the Vita Rush, which of course is the Lego City soda. Of course, we also have a desk here, which does look really good. And of course, smack dab in the middle of the build is the famed Tesseract right there, which of course is just a Minecraft head in translucent blue, which I think actually works really nice. Of course, the desk build is actually very nice. You have a little indent there with the sand orange, I would believe it would be. And it just looks really good, especially with the clear translucent hopper tiles on top there. I believe there is also a sticker piece right here for the computer, which does look very nice. Of course, I will pop it out right here. And it is just a bunch of files with a Lego head right there, which actually does look nice. Behind is also a light fixture, which I think looks really good, using these lightsaber pieces in clear, which is always nice to have. Of course, if you can see, the elevator also has the up and down arrows, and the buttons to activate. I did forget to mention that if you do lift up this bench right here, underneath is a little piece of gum, which is actually pretty funny. And of course, now moving into the second floor, starting with the figures. The first two figures we get being the exact same. This is Captain America, well, without his helmet, of course. This is the unmasked version, coming with the hair, as well as the same face print that he's been using for years, which I don't really think fits Chris Evans. However, it is just nice to have an extra little face print there. Of course, this is the same torso and legs that have been featured in the most recent Avengers 1 film based off of Lego sets here. Of course, we also do get a second version, this of course being the masked version, of course. He does come with two different face expressions, one being happier, one being more determined or concerned. Of course, we do get his helmet too, with the little flags or the wings on the side, as well as the shield, which actually does get put later into the build. And in this section of the build, we also do get Helen show, another one of the exclusive, kind of more civilian figures of the set, which I think is very, very nice. She does have two face expressions, one being more worried and one being more confident, of course. Probably the worried face expression being because Ultron is keeping her captive. She does come with a syringe, as well as a brand new torso piece, which I think, or torso print, sorry, which does look. And those figures are featured because this second floor is the lab, as well as this bridge where Captain America fights himself initially in the Avengers Endgame movie. And this section of the build is filled with so many cool details, so let's just break them down. Of course, starting with the first floor here, we have a spot where you can slip on Captain America, which I think is a very, very nice detail, and something that they didn't really need to do. Of course, he has a shield on him, but you do get the idea he can go right down there. Of course, there is a bit of glass shattered, which if you do look right up above here, there's another shield, and this is the glass bridge where they fight. Of course, right here is a broken off section right here, which is actually built really cool using this sideway building technique, which I think looks really good. And yeah, just the broken glass just looks really, really cool. Of course, zooming on in there, you can see a little lab area right there for Helen, of course, with the Iron Man kind of suit being deployed, which I think looks really good, as well as two chairs for people. And moving to a bird's eye view perspective to get a better look at this, you can also see, of course, the elevator extension on the back right there, as well as the chair that we just looked at earlier. And right in here, the lab. This, of course, is where Jarvis and Ultron are introduced to each other, of course, in Avengers Age of Ultron, which I think is just a super cool nod, especially using this boulder piece in translucent blue and this orange piece, as well as that stand that is used for Thor throwing his hammer to kind of make it look like they're floating. Looks really, really cool, of course. It's kind of hard to see them right here, but this is the side view, of course. And beneath it is a little table, of course, where you can be helping someone get better, I would assume. There's a little cot right back there with, of course, a stand for those two pieces right there for Ultron and for Jarvis. Of course, there's also a Mind Stone there, and zooming on, see that there's a little oxygen tank and another sticker piece right there behind the Mind Stone, which of course shows Iron Man's helmet and his arc reactor. Below it is also a cabinet with a syringe and a little med pack. Also, when building the second story, at the end of the booklet, we do get this little scene right here, which I was trying to recreate, but of course, he had his shield. Yeah, both of the Captain Americas are right there, and they do add in the joke right here. Once I lift it up, of course, it says, "We think that second figure looks great, Cap. As far as we're concerned, that's America's tube side." So I guess Lego figures' butts are called tubes. Now with all the figures out of the way and the first instruction booklet done, we can now attach the final top right here, which does look really, really good. It doesn't come apart super easily either. And we can press that down like so into place, of course, making sure that everything is flush all the way around here. The windows have been pretty tedious to do. However, I think it does look good in the end result. Of course, also, behind here, you can see that the elevator does go along the bottom there, and it doesn't connect to anything, it's just windows, which I guess was for kind of the symmetry and to make it look good all the way around there. Of course, you do have these cylinders going all the way up, which does look super nice. And if you do look on the inside here, there's a trim which is going to be filled in with some tiles, which I think are just going to be so fun to place down. Of course, it is super tall right now, but it is going to be 3 feet. Hello everybody, and welcome into part 2 of building the Lego Avengers tower. Of course, here is part 1, day 1, all done here. Of course, we have all 10 minifigures, 1 little micro figure, a side build, and of course the first 2 stories, which we went over in the part 1 video. Of course, going into part 2, this is our booklet right here, definitely significantly larger, and a ton more bags than the last one, which is going to be fun. Of course, as we can see, this is going to take us to the top floor, which is going to be crazy. Of course, with this video, at the end, I will go over the minifigures, the build itself, as well as all the Easter eggs in the booklet and on the build itself. But I'll see you guys. All right, and with booklet 2 out of the way, here is what we have. This thing is massive. It doesn't all fit in the frame right now, but we will break it down section by section, going through each minifigures introduced in this section and all the Easter eggs introduced in this set. Of course, floor 1 and 2 were in the first booklet, but now we are on floor number 3 here, which looks incredible, and it is Tony Stark's lab. However, starting off with the figures, the first one that we build for this section is the Hulk, and this is the newest version of him, of course, with the removable head, which looks crazy. And of course, this is a exclusive version, this one with the smiley face, which I think looks really good. Of course, this hairpiece does come in the 2 newest sets from August, but overall, I just love the new design for this Hulk. Of course, the shorts look really, really good in that gray, and the whole figure looks really nice. You have the 4 studs on the back, which isn't anything different from that Thanos figure that we got a couple years ago, but it is really nice to have an updated Hulk. Of course, we also do get another Chitauri soldier here, nothing different from the one from bag 2. However, we do get our second Iron Man figure, this of course being the Mark 7, being also battle damaged, which I think looks really, really cool and ties in to floor 3 very, very well. Of course, underneath isn't a Tony Stark head, it is just a blue transparent head, showing that this could be in Sentry mode, but I just love the design of the torn up battle damaged armor here, with of course all the weathering so that you can see the metal underneath, which looks really good, especially with that shine there. Of course, the legs actually don't look damaged whatsoever here. However, that torso is just mangled up there, of course, around the arc reactor right there, as well as this helmet here too, which looks crazy. Of course, there's a dent up in the corner there, the scratch over the eye, and it does carry on to the back here too, which does look really, really great. And now for the lab. Here it is. It is relatively small. However, it does hold a lot of Easter eggs and secrets in just this tiny little space. Smack dab in the middle of the build here, we have a little stand for Tony's suits, I guess, for him to be working on, as well as dummy right here, right in the corner, which he can move up and down. Of course, you can remove him. He is kind of a figure in the set here. He does attach to this hopper tile, actually, right onto there, which is very nice. Of course, in the back, you can also see another elevator. And man, these elevators are crazy. Actually, behind it, as you can see, that I probably won't be able to get to when I'm just showing you guys off the second part of this, is the fact that behind this third time building an elevator, there's a little $100 bill, of course, because we are building Tony Stark's lab, which I think is actually kind of cool. Moving on from the elevator there, of course, we also have all these screens in here. Of course, it is a bit hard to see, of course, with the backdrop, but I will try and make it as clear as I can here. On the left here, we have a little Quinjet schematic right there, hovering above there with, of course, a picture of the Black Widow right there, of course, with a few other schematics there, as well as right in there, if you guys can see. To get a better look, here is a little DNA panel here, of course, probably as a nod to Ultron and how he fuses with his new vibranium body, which of course does end up being sticking to the left side here. We also have a fire extinguisher in the background, of course, as a nod to Dummy, who is always putting out fires whether they are there or not. That is actually one of the things it says in the booklet, as well as we have a Roxxon can. Of course, this is a famous Marvel brand in the comics, and it is nice to be featured right in this set, as well as on the wall here, spinning it so that we can get a better look. Here is a little workbench for Tony Stark, of course, right on the desk there. You can see what I assume is a Iron Man figure, as well as a little coffee mug in silver, and right above it is the arc reactor. I believe that is proof that Tony Stark has a heart, which I think is just a amazing attention to detail here, as well as I love that glitter piece right in the middle there. Of course, in the desk right here, you can get a couple of little things from inside. In that first drawer are some cookies, and in the second drawer, if I can get it open, is a $100 bill. Of course, moving back to the wall, we also have a hologram of the Rescue Mark 50 armor right there. I will take it out so you guys can get a better look at it here. Here it is. It is a sticker piece on this translucent blue panel, which I think looks really good. Of course, it is labeled Rescue, and it says 3000 right there under the power of the arc reactor. Of course, a nod to I Love You 3000. Of course, behind that is a little schematic on Loki, as we can see, as well as an arc reactor schematic right above that, which I think is really cool. And the final detail on the floor is a blueprint for Ultron, which is amazing. I would have loved to get a helmet for him in the set. However, we do get a minifigure of his Mark 1 version, which is really nice. On to the next figures that we get for the next level. The first one is Black Widow, looking amazing, and I believe this version was exclusive to the set. However, now it is in the Leviathan set, but this one does come with leg printing, which I think looks really good, especially paired with the arm printing here, which looks amazing and is, I believe, the only figure in this set to feature arm printing, which is just amazing. The gun itself is a little weird. I'm not a huge fan of it. I would have preferred the Goon guns. However, I see why they didn't use them, as Falcon has them. But overall, it is a pretty basic figure. We have seen this version before, of course. We have the face print, which has been used on multiple characters, however, most prominently for Black Widow, and of course, her signature hairpiece. Of course, there's also a second expression on the back, and a very nice figure. And the final figure for this section, Wong, which is a little weird why he's included. I never really understood it. In the manual, it says that this is the only way they could have included a sling ring portal, but I don't really see why they needed that per se, as it matches up with the Sanctum right next to it, of course, because it's a modular set. However, it is nice to get another version of him. He does come with his discs, as well as the same printing and the same figure overall from that Sanctum set, of course. He also comes with a hot dog, and there is a little joke in the instruction booklet where he says that he is in the set to show Hawkeye that mayo does not belong on hot dogs, which of course is a nod to the opening scene from Endgame, where Hawkeye and his family are having hot dogs out on their farm before they're now into the fourth floor, which is the detention cell floor, which I think looks really great here with that black floor with the translucent tiles, as well as all the grates there, which do look really nice. Of course, there is the detention cell right here, which can open up, which is very nice. You can fit one minifigure on the inside there. Of course, this is the same detention cell that was featured in the helicarrier when Loki is captured in the first Avengers film. However, they just transported it into the tower as an extra level, which I don't think is too bad. Of course, we also get a little newspaper there saying who is the Iron Man. A little weird, as I'm not totally sure why that's included, as at the end of Iron Man, they know who he is, really. However, it's not that big of a deal. Of course, at the back, we also do get a little control panel for Arnim Zola, which is a really cool detail there. I'm trying to take him out for you guys. And here he is. And this is really cool. Straight out of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, of course, with that sticker tile right there on the computer screen, as well as the little camera lens on the control panel down there, straight out of the movie. And it's a nice inclusion. I just don't really get why it's in the You can also see a bucket in behind the detention center there, and I'm not totally sure what that's for, as well as another elevator with, behind it, a cup, as you guys will see right here. Guys, I will never build a Lego elevator ever again. However, due to the fact that there's another Easter egg in this thing, and I'm probably not going to be able to access it once everything's together, there's a little cup behind here. I don't know why. I'm going to be honest, I don't know why there's a cup behind here. But this is a very in-depth breakdown, so I have to tell you guys every little thing. And I don't really understand. It's behind this, so it's really, really hard to get a clear look at it as well as access it, which is why I guess it is closed off there. Of course, you do have the buttons, the up and down arrows, and some really nice stickers there that you don't get to really see as they're hidden by the detention cell. However, of course, it is closed by Hulk, who has punched a hole through the door, and there's all that caution tape there saying caution, out of order, which I think is really, really nice. And at this point in the build, you do take a break for the main tower, and you get to build the mini. Of course, the figure included with the Quinjet build is Nick Fury, coming with a gun in gray, a walkie-talkie, and the same printing that he's been using for years on years. And I don't think it's necessarily an issue, as he does look really, really good there, of course, with the nice torso printing there going on into the legs with the drapes of the jacket, as well as the scowling face expression. Of course, the eye patch also goes all the way around. A very solid. And here you have the Quinjet. Pretty basic and simple. However, what I do like is it is kind of based off of both of the Quinjets. Of course, the first version and the second version appearing in Age of course, that one does not have the jets at the back. However, these jets are removable if you do want to, I guess, turn it into that version, which actually does look pretty accurate to what it does look like in the movie. Of course, yes, these do move. There are 2 shield stickers on there, which do look nice. Of course, the thrusters do have some orange on them, and all around the build has this nice translucent blue highlights all throughout of it, giving it that powered up engine look, as well as you have the wheels on the bottom to make it roll. The wing flaps do fold up, which is very nice. You do have 2 stud shooters here, which do shoot 2 blue translucent little studs there, as well as in the middle you can of course see these turbines there, which they do a pretty good job at kind of micro. Of course, you also do get the little shield logos on those Nexonite shield pieces, which do look good. The cockpit opens up with 2 control panels and room for 1 figure. And finally, if you do lift up this little piece right here, there's a little storage compartment for some extra ammo. And now moving into the last section of the build, of course, the lounge and the helipad of the tower. First, the figures that you build, and the first one you do build is Wanda Maximoff, looking very, very cool here, of course. This is not the most accurate version to the one that appears in the tower. This, of course, is her Endgame and Infinity War look, which does look actually really good, though. I do enjoy this, and I didn't have the figure before this, so it is nice to have that. Of course, it's the same face expression from the Sanctum back in 2021, which I don't think is a huge issue. Of course, she does have the same build for her Power Blast pieces, which, again, I don't really understand. However, it is a nice inclusion overall to have that powers being represented. And we do get the nice skirt piece finally, which is a super cool inclusion. And she does come with this little 1x2 brick here in translucent clear that you can make it seem like she is hovering, which of course, is nice. Fitting with the section that you build, you also get Ultron, and this guy is so cool. This, of course, is his damaged Mark 1 version, and it is just a crazy, crazy thing that we have finally got this figure. Of course, right here on the front here, it's all new printing from the head down to the legs there with that weathered, destroyed Iron Legion look there. Of course, it is so menacing, and you do get the, I guess, the translucent hover blast pieces in that blue. Of course, the arms are mismatched to give it that more destroyed and just really weathered look. Of course, on the back, you do get all that weathered look right there with all the silver there, and just overall just an amazing figure in this set, and I hope this stays exclusive because this figure is going to be expensive. We also get War Machine, and he is looking very, very nice here. Of course, it is the same War Machine figure that's been appearing for a while now. However, it is just nice to have another one and a different one. I have the one from the mech suit, and this is the first time getting a MCU accurate one, which is very nice. I wish he would have came with a hairpiece, however he didn't, which is a little bit of a disappointment. However, it's not that hard to fix. He does come with the red Power Blast pieces, not really Power Blast, but like the energy pieces to simulate him flying. Of course, his backpack piece is simple and actually the same build that he's been using since his debut in 2013, I believe, with the Iron Man 3 sets. And that's actually not that bad. There is no dual-sided head, which is a little sad. I would like to see a little exclusive head there with what happened with Tony and his infrared kind of scanning on the inside of the final two figures. We, of course, get Pepper Potts with a little tablet right here with a little call sign for Tony, of course, right there, and a burger, of course, because Tony is always snacking, and of course as a nod to when he wanted a burger in the first Iron Man film. This, of course, is the same figure that we've been getting for a while, of course, of Pepper Potts. However, I do not have one, so it is nice to finally get one. Of course, she does have an extra face expression on the back there, and just a nice figure to have for the tower, especially as really it wouldn't be complete without her and Tony. And the final figure, this is Hawkeye, and this is one of the best figures in the set, of course. His torso print is just so good there. Of course, this is one of the first custom figures I ever drew, and it just looks crazy with that shield logo, of course, and the red and the gunmetal gray base for the torso is very strange, but I do enjoy it. I will probably be changing out the face, as I don't really think this one is super accurate. However, they do bring back his hairpiece here, which is very nice here, getting that a second time, as well as the legs are the same as Black Widow. He does come with his new bow piece released in the Marvel CMF Series 2, and a quiver on the back, of course. A very nice figure, and he does have his red glove. And here is the final floor, the helipad. Of course, it is going to be a bit darker as my lights don't really reach up here, but this is the helipad, of course. Out here on the front is the main helipad. Of course, you do have room to store the Quinjet here, which is very nice. This does flap up so you can fit it in, which is very cool. It does look super big because it's probably not to scale. However, that just folds down and it sits nicely on top of there. Of course, you do have these bar pieces which do wrap around, giving it that nice look there, as well as really just the build itself. You add in all the trimming, which I think is really nice and just adds such a clean look, as well as you do end up building this curve to it with all the translucent pieces intertwined there. It looks incredible, as well as the trim around here, which does go all the way around the build. Also at the back side here, you do finish trimming it off. Of course, as you can see, I didn't press down on all the pieces hard enough. You do build this little triangular kind of look right here, of course, which is super cool and clean. The windows going all the way around, and of course these curved pieces just finishing it off and making it look super. Taking this out so we can get a better look at what is inside this section of the build here. Looking in at the bird's eye view, this of course is the Avengers lounge here. Of course, you can see the two couches, the table with on it the Battle of New York newspaper there, Thor's hammer, and a little glass for the drinks at the back. Of course, you do have milk and a few other drinks. I can't believe what they'd be drinking, but this of course is the little hangout area from Avengers Age of Next to the two couches. In one side you do have a little lamp, which does look really good, and on the other side a plant, which just adds a little bit of greenery. The first TV that you do put stickers on is right behind this couch, and it just shows a little search history of how to lift heavy stuff, of course, to show and just add a little nod to how they all tried to lift Thor's hammer in the movie. A very funny little addition, as well as you see some Hydra files being deleted, which of course is a nod to how Hydra took over S.H.I.E.L.D. in Captain America the Winter Soldier. And of course next to it, it says who is watching. Of course, this is a nod to, of course, all the Avengers right here. You have green for Hulk, TO for Thor Odinson, and blue for Steve Rogers, of course, with the SR, and red for Tony Stark. The final TV screen, which is a little news report on the Hulk going crazy. This just in, Hulk smashes again. Of course, you have a little news guy right there, which is really cool. And beneath it, the weather update, who is Winter Soldier. I'm not totally sure why that's a winter update, but it is really nice that we do get a nod to a bunch of the Winter Soldier films. As the Winter Soldier, we never really got a set based off. There you guys have it. That is part 2 of the Avengers Tower build. Of course, part 3 will be the last section and will be posted throughout the week. Of course, at the end of the week with all these videos being compiled. All right, everybody. And here it is, the Avengers Tower, all done. This thing is insane. It actually touches my roof, which is crazy. I actually had some trouble moving it around just to try and get to the backside and everything, and just these top pieces always bumped off. But let's get right into it, guys, going over everything you build in the third and final book. Alright, and actually for the first 2 bags in this section of the build, we don't build any figures, and instead we build this top section right here for the tower, just removing all of this, of course, right here. We do build this section right in here, which of course is a little room with a few decor items there, as well as right behind it a first edition of the Avengers Tower comic book, which is just so cool to include in a set like this, as well as right over here in the corner you have a little imprint of Loki, of course, on the ground. This is, of course, where Hulk throws him around. A very, very nice reference. Of course, it is all windowed off there, of course, with a nice gray trim around there, which I do really, really like. Of course, it is right above the little section right under there, which is the lounge. And then you do move up to this section right here, which is analyzing Loki's scepter right here. Of course, you have a few files open. Of course, the scanning of it, it does look a little different, which I wish we got an actual piece for it, but whatever. And of course, there's the Jarvis, I guess, the Jarvis script getting hacked, which is, of course, a nod to when Ultron takes over. You also do have this nice little radar dish right here. At this point in the book, they do acknowledge that it is getting super tall, but I do like how they add in the detail talking about the scepter with the desk. And then starting off bag 30 and going into 31 and 32, we're really just adding some final details to the tower, and we do get this awesome Vision figure here. Of course, fully updated from the Vision figures in the past, coming with this amazing transparent and plastic cape, which just looks incredible, and I love how they didn't use the cloth. This just looks perfect, of course, with all the printing there, as well as the design that they went for with the transparent legs there looks really good and gives them that nice phasing. The printing is really, really great for this figure. Now, I don't think the colors match really well. I think it could have been a bit more of that pale teal blue that we had on the original figure. However, I do think it is just overly nice that we do get a new Vision figure. And of course, at this section, you do get into a pretty boring part of the build, which of course is just building 2 of these identical curving pieces right here, which does actually add a lot to the build itself. It's just when you're building it, it is just repetition after repetition, as well as you do also build this giant wall right here for the tower there, of course. And later on in the bags, you do make all the gray parts there and all the Technic pieces. But in the first bag, you are really just building these window pieces over and over. Moving into our next bag, this gives us the Wasp, and she is a fantastic figure. Honestly, a updated one, however, it needed an update, especially the helmet, and I think this looks so much better than the Ant-Man and the Wasp version. Of course, we get another piece in that plastic transparent color, which I think looks amazing here with that printing there, which of course is the Wasp's wings here, looking amazing, as well as that brand new helmet with a face print underneath. However, I'm not sure why they switched. But that, I mean, it is the same face as Pepper Potts, which is a little strange as they don't look anything alike. Of course, we do get a hairpiece with that, which is very nice, and this back piece is attached with the neck bracket in that transparent color, as well as that rounded 1x2 plate with studs in the middle there, attaching the wings. We also do get Tony Stark in this section of the build, and while this may look like a normal Tony Stark, the really only different thing is that he does have a back attachment here with a translucent little piece right on the back, of course, to later attach something, as you will see. A pretty basic figure that has appeared in multiple different Marvel sets throughout the years, however, a needed inclusion, as this is really his tower. Of course, with that being said, the section that you do build are these side panels, these gray ones right here, that do wrap around, which I do think would look really nice, and hold this barrier piece that you can actually remove in place. Of course, the next section that you build is this one flap to cover up the scepter area, as well as this really cool bendy wall right here to cover up the section right here. That slips into place just under this bar right here and fits actually pretty nice in there and looks really After that, the next figure we get is the Falcon, and this is probably one of the best versions we've ever got. Of course, an updated version from the Infinity War one, and I think the wings are just built so much better, of course, making sure to include Red Wing on the back, as well as these stickers just look super nice, and the color scheme is just really great. Of course, the new Falcon hairpiece is used right there with the same legs as Hawkeye as well as Black Widow there, which isn't really anything super special. However, it is nice to have leg printing, and a new torso print and face print, which looks really, really nice. Of course, the wings do fold and move with those clip pieces there, and he does have the goon guns in black. And with him, you build the wall to cover this area up right here, which I believe does slip on just like that. The next figure that we get is Eric Selvig, which is a brand new minifigure as a whole. Now, the pieces may not be. He does come with a nice laptop, and the face print is from Luthen Ryle from the Star Wars Andor show. However, it is nice to get it in another set. Now, a more expensive one, however, he is probably going to be an exclusive minifigure. The torso isn't anything new, though, but overall, just a super nice inclusion for the set, as he is actually a pretty prominent role in this entire build. Fitting with him, you do build this upper section right here with all these antennas here that I was talking about that keep hitting the roof, as well as his machine right here, which does detach and looks really, really great. Of course, we have the Tesseract right there, a little whisk, which does look really cool, a wand piece in gold, as well as all these track pieces, and a little computer. And actually, I was mistaken. This is also where you do build this wall, not in the previous section. And this is where you add a lot of the finishing details as well. Of course, you do include to build this window, which is, of course, broken, which does look super, super nice. However, it is a bit of a hassle to put it back together, but that doesn't totally matter. Of course, you also do get a little trash can, and opening it up will give you access to a little surprise. And that would be a little gum wrapper, which, of course, if you guys didn't watch episode 1, underneath this bench is a little piece of gum, which I think is a really cool callback to the earlier build of this. We do also end up building the memorial sign here, of course, the Battle of New York Memorial, with all the Avengers names: Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Thor Odinson, Bruce Banner, Natasha Romanoff, and Clint Barton. Of course, the original 6 And Avengers. You, of course, detail the back section, too, with Captain Marvel's pager, which is an amazing sticker piece, and I'm so thankful to finally get it. This is such a cool little inclusion. A little box, which is pretty random, and a garbage bin, of course, fitting with Lego's addition of garbage bins in almost all of their sets. And on the inside are some... On the inside is this little green kind of plant piece right there, which is pretty sure is just some regular garbage. A shawarma wrapper, which of course is a nod to, at the end of the film, all 6 of them getting shawarma, which I think is just so, so cool. Now, it's a shame it's in a garbage can and not just on the street, but I can see why they had to hide it, as well as you do get these Pym particles right here, which is super, super cool, and of course a nod to when the Avengers do go back in time in Avengers Endgame to restore the Infinity Stones. And of course, then you do add the final details, but first we do get to build Kevin Feige, the president and head of Marvel Studios, and this is just so cool to see him in a set like this. Now, of course, he will definitely stay exclusive to this set, I'm hoping at least, as just, it's so cool to get him in such a big set. Of course, it would have been cool to see Stan Lee. However, this is just as good. He has this Avengers cap, which is so cool. His classic grin there, as well as his jacket over his collared shirt. He has a coffee cup and a shawarma, which is just, it's so cool to see all the callbacks in this. And this is the part of the build where you do build the A's on Avengers Tower, as well as you get this little bird right here, which I think is nice, as well as spinning it around to the front here is where you put the lamppost down, as well as that little fire hydrant right in the corner. Final bag with the final figures. Of course, we do get 2 more Chitauri in this section of the build. Nothing different from the ones in the previous 2 in the previous 2 booklets. Of course, they are the same figure. Of course, we can show you that with this last one right here. We do finally get Loki, and he looks so good here with all that metallic printing printed onto the gunmetal gray, with his spear, with his massive horns, and the green cape. It's a perfect figure, honestly. I see no reason to need to improve it, of course. He does come with the cape, whereas in this summer, actually, he was changed to have the plastic cape. However, I almost do prefer the cloth cape, as you can move it, and it's a perfect figure. Of course, removing the helmet, he does have an extra face expression on the back, as well as a hair piece, which is just amazing detail and amazing inclusion. Of course, his face is all battered up from the fight, as well as he has the mouth guard on him. Of course, it's the same hairpiece that comes in the minifigure series. However, it's just amazing. Just an amazing figure. And in this final bag, you build the deployable Mark 6 armor, looking super cool here in flight mode. Of course, you can put it into an action scene, which I will show you guys in a bit. You also build the portal that Wong appears from. Now, I'm not totally sure, again, why a portal is here, but again, it says in the book, this is the only reason to include Wong in the set, or I guess a sling ring portal in this case, which is a little weird, but we'll allow it. We'll allow it. As well as you do build the Chitauri chariots, which look better than ever and amazing to see an updated version. Of course, you do get one without the chariot at the back, and they do really look like Loki's crown, which is super cool. You, of course, have the purple, I guess, laser launcher or laser gun at the front, and right here is the chariot there, of course, with the same build for the cart at the front. However, you can move it around. There's a little joint piece there too, and it just looks so cool and scaly. One of the best parts actually of the set was building all of the Chitauri's weaponry, and you also do get a bunch of these translucent pieces here, which I will attach later on, as well as all these other ones right here. This one is actually not part of it, but these 2 to just add different posability. And of course, this piece right here does slide off super easy for access to the entire interior, levels 1 to 6. Of course, 5 is the only one that's covered up, but you get what I mean. This thing was so fun to build and is just so massive, but honestly, if you have the money and you have been wanting it for so long, make sure to pick it up while you still can. This is definitely one of the best things LEGO Marvel has put out. Something I forgot to mention was that the fact that underneath here is actually all tiled off, which is super cool and makes sliding this on super easy. One super cool thing that I did notice while building, of course, at the end of each book at the back, the Stark logo does start slowly falling apart here until in book 3, you are left with the Avengers symbol. These are all the pieces I ended up with as extra pieces. There is way too much. But there you guys have it. That is every single thing a part of the Avengers Tower. This set was so much fun and definitely worth it. And I can't thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have given me this year. You guys made this possible, as well as all the people that did make this happen, actually. The whole reason I'm here, as well as all the reasons I purchased this set. Of course, if you guys did go on to enjoy the video, please make sure to subscribe and like the video, as it shows me what you guys like to see, as well as it pushes me out to more people who may enjoy my content. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to do this soon. with the X Mansion. Whenever those leaks ever come out. Of course, before I do go, I want to pray for you guys. So if you'll let me do that, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity to share such an amazing experience with these people across the screen, Lord. Would you lay your hand over them for protection, Lord, and just walk with them through every aspect of their life, every stage and every moment. Lord God, may you bless them with good health as well as just an amazing week, Lord. Thank you for making them such unique people, Lord, and just continue to bless them. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys so much.